What's up, everybody? My name's John Hill, and I'm obsessed with dry ride cymbals. Something about those like nasty looking, dirty looking ride cymbals, unlathed, crazy hammering, they just sound really, really good and they look cool. Here's an example. This is a Paiste ride cymbal I have. This is a signature dark, dry ride Mark I. I mean, just look at this thing. How amazing is that? I've had this love affair with Paiste cymbals for the past couple of years. It started with this like search for the perfect flat ride sound. Then that kind of transitioned to me trying to find the coveted sound creation dark ride. And eventually I just kind of got into this phase where I really wanted dry cymbals, like not a lot of decay, just very quick, but still a lot of good stick definition. And really to find that in the Paiste catalog, you kind of have to find the discontinued cymbals on the used market. This is an example of that. These are kind of hard to find. But the reason I like Paiste's take on dry cymbals is that you still get that stick definition that Paiste is known for. And so dark just means like the pitch of the cymbal. So a darker cymbal is lower in pitch, and dry versus wet, I guess, is just how long the sound of the cymbal lasts. It's the decay of it. So dark and dry. It's a pretty winning combination. The tricky thing with playing on drier cymbals is that there really is nowhere to hide. So when your cymbals are really washy, that sound is going to carry over a lot, and so you can kind of get away with certain things in your playing. But when you play with more dry textures, that articulate kind of sound, you have to really be conscious of how precise you're playing. While it is harder to get a very clean, clear sound while playing with dry ride cymbals, I really enjoy the result of it because each part of the complete instrument, all the different pieces of the drum set, can stand out and you can clearly hear each individual voice. So what I was thinking was today I would kind of play on some of my ride cymbals, show you guys the difference between that dry sound and the more washy sound, and talk about the benefits of both. So let's go over to the drums and I'll show you some of my cymbals. Okay, so right now I have two of my favorite dry ride cymbals in my arsenal on the drum set. So on my left side is that signature dark dry ride that I talked about. And this is a really cool cymbal because Paiste's signature series is a different alloy than most jazz ride cymbals might be. Typically we have this B20 alloy, and this is Paiste's signature kind of recipe, which is kind of like a B15, if I'm not mistaken. So the ratio of copper to tin is a little different, and so it's a little softer, but that gives it a really cool sound, especially when it's unlathed, super raw, you know, kind of heavy hammering. I really like the sound of the cymbal. So that's on the left side. It's interesting, for a 20-inch cymbal, it has a really low pitch, and that's where the whole dark moniker comes from. The gram weight of this one is around like the 2200 range, which typically for a 20-inch cymbal, that's kind of like medium thickness. But most jazz ride cymbals, to achieve that low fundamental pitch, they go really, really thin. A normal 20-inch jazz ride cymbal might be like 1800 grams. So a good bit thicker, but still has that low pitch. I don't know if that comes from the unlathed kind of nature of the cymbal, or maybe the hammering, that it looks like really heavy golf ball hammering. And although it's low pitched and kind of dry, it still has a really good cutting bell. So it's a very well-rounded cymbal. And I was trying to play some more kind of fast notey stuff so you could really hear how when you have a dry cymbal, you could play lots of things, get a lot of articulation, but the cymbal doesn't mask all the stuff you're playing. And I really, really like that. And on the right side, I have a Paiste Masters dry ride. This is a B20 cymbal, so kind of your typical jazz ride cymbal. This one is like partially lathed on the top, and the bottom has this like crazy, I don't know, maybe sandblasted. I don't know the exact process they do, but it's got a very dry sound. This is a 21-inch, but this is the cymbal I use for most of my gigs. It's got a dark, low pitch, doesn't get in the way, but it also has a really nice stick definition. Yeah, love the cymbal. So just like the left side, this dark dry ride, the Masters dry is also very, very articulate. And you could play a lot of really quick stuff on it and it doesn't kind of wash out and get lost. It has a really great stick definition and the bell cuts. You could tell it's got that kind of hand-hammered vibe to it. You could still crash it as well. So some really, really dry rides, you don't really want to crash them because it just sounds like a trash can lid. But these aren't like that. So you can play a lot of quick stuff. And this is something I've been working on a lot, is that I like to call it the Instagram drummer sound. Basically just like fast rudiments and sticking split between the ride cymbal and the bell and the snare drum, ghost notes, and then like put a backbeat in there. Thinking about doing a lesson video about that because that's like this whole sound now. You can really achieve that sound with these dry ride cymbals. Okay, so let's check out some of my other cymbals. This one is interesting. This is a Paiste Dimensions dry ride. So it's another 20-inch cymbal, and I don't know the exact years that they made the Dimension series. I feel like it's early 2000s maybe, or maybe like late 90s. But this is actually a B8 cymbal. So typically when we think B8 cymbals, you think of like the Sabian B8 or, something like that. Normally like the lower end entry level cymbals. But I will say this is the best sounding B8 cymbal I've ever played. You can tell it's super raw looking, very unlathed, and the hammering is really, really pronounced. But this is kind of similar to the signature dark dry, but just heavier, so thicker. So for a 20-inch cymbal, this is probably like in the 2,400 range in gram weight. So a lot more stick definition. And this, I feel like, is really that Jack DeJohnette with Keith Jarrett Standards Trio. Like, it really is that sound. So yeah, definitely a brighter sound. I think that's because it's a little thicker, but it's still really dry. It's not very, very high pitched still. It's got that kind of dark quality to it, but the bell is like really piercing on it. This one records really well, I feel like. But yeah, in a live situation, especially in like a bar that's got tile on the floors and a bunch of glass windows and tall ceilings, it can be a bit too much, but the right player can really control it. It's really all in the hands. If you're enjoying this video, please consider leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing. It's a great way to let the algorithm overlords know that you want to see more content like this, and I'd really appreciate it. Okay, back to the drums. Okay, this next one is an absolute beast. Oh! Gosh, she's heavy. So another discontinued Paiste ride. I mean, just look at this thing. This looks like an ancient Greek shield digged up out of the ground after thousands of years. This thing is crazy. So this is another signature ride, but this is the dry dark, not the dark dry. I'm pretty sure this one is coveted in the metal drumming scene because it's really heavy and it's got a really piercing bell. But for some reason, I like trying to play cymbals that don't necessarily work in jazz, but forcing them to, like forcing myself to adjust to it. So I kind of like playing on this thing. This is a 20-inch cymbal and it's like 26 or 2,800 grams. Like it's really heavy, but it's really dark. It's got a low pitch to it. It's got a really cool sound and it's really complex. Check it out. is crazy. Yeah, the bell is like insane. It's really dry. It's really heavy and piercing, but like dark at the same time. Pisces can just make that happen. I mean, I don't know what the secret sauce is, but they achieved it with this. And of course, it's discontinued. When crashing on it, I'm not gonna hit with the shoulder of the stick, like glancing off of the cymbal, because that's a bit too abrasive. I'd probably just go like that. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera, but really approach it at this kind of angle so that it just hits the edge and just makes it open up so you get that low kind of underlying fundamental pitch. And I have used this on a couple jazz gigs in like small clubs, and it kind of works. I think a lot of jazz drummers get so obsessed with particular sounds that they've heard on records and they want to have that sound, and I get it. I think there's this ideal jazz ride cymbal that's super thin and dark and washy sounding. It sounds really good when you're playing it, like right here. But when you step out in the audience, it can kind of get lost in the mix of all the rest of the instruments playing. I like having cymbals that have some stick definition to them, which means they're going to be a little heavier. But once you get into that raw, like super hammered, dry sounding, they're heavier and have stick definition, but they still have that low fundamental pitch. Let's listen to a cymbal that has a bit more of a washy sound. Okay, so this is a Zildjian 1950s Avidus cymbal. It's a 20-inch cymbal, and I have put some tape on the bottom of this to dry it out. It also has one rivet installed at the moment. Let's listen to this. So yeah, definitely your typical kind of jazzy ride cymbal sound. Washy, and the rivet definitely adds a lot to that. I mean, after I was done playing, it's just gonna sizzle forever until I cover it. This is one of my favorite kind of vintage ride cymbals because it just sounds like those jazz records from the 1950s, 1960s. I mean, they were playing on cymbals like this, and the ever elusive vintage K. Using a cymbal like this, it can overwhelm the room, especially that washiness, and it could also get lost in the mix. Now, when you're on the cymbal, right up on it, playing it, you can't tell. But like, I've used this on a jam session, and then when a drummer sits in and I go into the audience and listen, it's like, where'd the ride cymbal go? But recording it, playing it on, records, it's gonna sound really great. Playing on a cymbal like this that's really washy, it kind of opens up your playing because you have this blanket of just texture going by. So you can use that to your advantage, right? You can use more space. There's going to be less dead space in your playing. To me, while I'm doing that, you don't hear
the voices of the drums stand out as much because this is still going, kind of ringing out on top of it. So let me know down in the comments, what kind of cymbals do you guys like to play on? Do you prefer the drier cymbals or the more washy cymbals, or maybe something completely different? If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and thanks for subscribing if you have. We just hit 17K subscribers, which is crazy, and I'm just so grateful to you all that have been watching, leaving comments, kind of getting this community growing. Just, yeah, it's awesome, and it makes making the videos really fun and really worth it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.